Good morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm Gimpy. Not sure you can see this or not, but this is a scary picture of my son Andy and two grandsons Alice and Archie at a Halloween event over in Carmel. Creepy green lights with a big old monster in the middle. I think Halloween might be the grandkids' second favorite holiday. Okay, this is video number 95. I've entitled this one The CIA and Charles Manson. This is based on a book by Tom O'Neill called Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. I was born in 1956. So I was coming up through elementary school, middle school, graduated high school in 1974. So I remember a lot of these events on the news. Okay, the CIA had several programs in the 60s to disrupt what they saw as anti-American protesting. One was called MK Ultra, and it involved LSD experiments. Started the program in the 1950s through the 70s, testing mind control techniques using LSD and other methods. O'Neill suggests that Manson may have been exposed to or influenced by these experiments through his connection to the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic in San Francisco. He also examines the very unusual leniency that the courts had with Charles Manson, who was a lifelong criminal. He was repeatedly arrested, but often released under suspicious circumstances. Several experts on American criminal law looked at Manson's record and said, why in the world wasn't this guy locked up a long time ago? It leads to speculation that he may have been protected or monitored by federal agents. Charles Manson actually grew up in Indiana, and here in Hamilton County, where I live, he was arrested and put in jail. And we have an old courthouse and a new courthouse. And the old courthouse opens for tours on occasion, and his picture is in there, representing the fact that he spent time in our Hamilton County jail as a young man. But he ended up in California, being the leader of a group of runaways, mostly women, but some men. And the Haight-Ashbury Clinic was established to deal with the influx of these young people who had little money but were addicted to drugs. The clinic was supposed to help them get off of drugs, but O'Neill theorizes that our buddy Jolly West, who showed up in a previous video, was a prominent psychiatrist, known for his work in brainwashing, hypnosis, and psychological effects of LSD. That he also worked with the Haight-Ashbury Clinic. So the same guy that may have killed Jack Ruby with the fast-acting cancer treatment, West received CIA funding under MK Ultra. His research overlapped with the free clinic that Manson and his followers frequented. West was interested in how LSD affected human behavior The clinic's focus on drug treatment and mental health. West used the clinic to further his research, and O'Neill theorizes that the CIA provided LSD to Manson and the followers. So Manson may have been part of an experiment. The CIA wanted to see what LSD would do for criminal type people. I can't imagine that they thought that CIA would help them stop being criminals. So I don't know if the CIA just wanted to see what kind of effect the LSD would have on criminal types. I'm not sure. So whatever the purpose of the experiment was, it had a very bad result. Manson and his followers were arrested, put on trial for the brutal murders of 7 people at 2 Los Angeles locations in 1969. Most famous of these people was Sharon Tate, who was a well-known movie actress who was also pregnant at the time. So the prosecutor who became famous for this case was Vincent Bugliosi. He presented to the jury that Manson was trying to instigate a race war out of which his group would emerge as leaders. And he wrote the book called Helter Skelter, based on the Beatles song Helter Skelter. He claimed that Manson told him that you play the song Helter Skelter backwards and it talks about this race war thing. I think people have tried this over the years and there's nothing there. It's either Bugliosi made the whole thing up or Manson made the whole thing up. But they were crazy people. They were 1960s version of the hippies with a criminal past, did not work, lived on an old movie set, Southern California. Manson tried to get into the music business, trying to get relationships with members of the Beach Boys. I guess he could play the guitar and sing fairly well, but was upset that no one would give him a chance in the music business. So he was not actually there at either house where the murders took place, but he supposedly sent them there with orders to kill. Been a lot of speculation on any other motives it might have been, but they wrote the word pig in blood on the walls, the blood of their victims. So that may have led to the theory that they were trying to make it look like it was the murderers were black people. I don't know. Did black people call the police pig more often than white people in California in the 60s? Maybe. But O'Neill writes that Bugliosi was not the most honest guy in the world, and he manipulated the evidence to obscure deeper truths. That Manson and his group were part of a behavioral study of LSD use, and the people who did the study were government agents. So do you think that the government wanted Manson and his people to start murdering people? I can't imagine that would be true. Although the Manson case kind of put the wampus on the hippie culture, the counterculture of California at the time. Kind of that and some other events kind of turned around the swing away from the free drug-induced hippie culture of Southern California and Northern California of the 60s, and kind of made them look bad, obviously. So maybe that was part of the plan. I certainly hope not. The other government program was called Operation Chaos. It's a CIA program that surveilled and disrupted anti-war and civil rights movements. And Manson's actions served to discredit the counterculture. Operation Chaos surveilled U.S. citizens. They infiltrated student groups, protest groups, Black Power, civil rights groups, and women's liberation. This was all exposed by the Church Committee. Church was a senator, I think, from like Idaho, something like that, in the 1970s. And he exposed the intelligence agency, CIA abuses, prompted more oversight. But in the long run, it didn't help. The CIA still did crazy things. I wrote down a phrase, I hope it's not true, that evil finds a way. They found a way around the Church Committee. And then when 9/11 happened, people said, well, the Church Committee did more damage than it did any good, because now the CIA did not know that the bombers were coming and could have stopped them. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was what people said. So after 9/11, the government got even more intrusive, more surveillance. Guantanamo Bay, Iraq war, Afghanistan war. Wow. We went from surveilling and doing LSD experiments to invading other countries. Which is worse? I'm not sure. Okay. CIA, Charles Manson. Was Manson a CIA operative? If so, did the CIA want Manson to kill all those people? I hope not. Maybe it was just bad judgment on the CIA's part, trying experiments with people's lives that went wrong. That might be the best scenario, but I don't know. Our government has done some crazy things in its history. Okay. You guys have a great day. Thank you.